Hello, everyone, and welcome to Weekly Emmy Talk number 4. We are covering the final of the 3 separate categories, the comedy categories here, and it's a pretty good list of shows here. And I'm joined by Anthony to go over these.
Hello, everyone.
So, before we go into it, any fun shows you've been watching lately, Anthony?
Well, I finally got into Heartstopper, which is just delightful and
Very
charming.
good. Yes.
Um, what's also delightful and charming is Miss Marvel. I was
Mhm.
very, just delighted and just charmed by that show. The texting on the screen was so inventive.
So
So
creative.
yeah, it was a nice palate cleanser after sitting through 6 Jurassic Park/World
Oh,
movies this week.
yeah. Yeah. That's rough. I could not do that to myself. I also watched Miss Marvel. I thought it was very well done. It's probably my favorite pilot of any of the Marvel shows, I think. I think it just has the most creative direction in it.
I would put it as like I think the Disney Plus Marvel shows are like there's 2 tiers, and listen, I enjoy
Hmm.
them all, but like I would put Miss Marvel in the WandaVision Loki tier rather than like the
Yeah,
Falcon and the Winter Soldier or Hawkeye tier.
yeah, I would agree with that. And then what else have I seen? I've been watching Kenobi. I like it so far. It's Star
I
Wars, so
agree.
it's always controversial for some reason, but I like it. Um, and then I've just been catching up on the comedy shows we're about to talk about. Finished Hacks, Barry is always. Um, is that a Thor: Love and Thunder
I don't know
trailer?
what that was Gold Derby's pop-up
Oh,
ad.
Gold Derby. Come on now. Come on now. Um,
When
very
did
good.
Gold Derby
Gold
sing
Derby.
a song as you go onto their
I know.
website?
It sounded like the Thor: Love and Thunder trailer.
Maybe it
Um,
was. Maybe it was a pop-up ad. I don't know. But
Thor's
that's what
coming
we're
for the
here to do
Oscars.
today is
Yeah,
comedy,
get
the
right into
comedy
it.
of the Emmys predictions. So I'm pulling them up now, see what's in the running. We actually, like for quite a while, this category has been like very stagnant. And we actually have a
Yeah,
competition, like more than
finally.
2 shows competing competition.
Yeah. Thankfully, it's not just going to be a Ted Lasso sweep all over again. At least in my opinion, I think there are some shows that are, in my opinion, better coming for some appreciation themselves. Ted Lasso got the love last year too, so and they've got a final season coming up apparently. So this is their middle area.
Yeah.
Um,
Which
yeah,
I really love season 2. I guess I'm in the minority that I really enjoyed season
yeah.
2 of Ted Lasso.
I like the show. I just like some of the other options more
Mhm.
personally. Um, but getting into it, comedy series. My number one instead of Ted Lasso, I've got Hacks. Um, this was a pretty good season overall. I think each episode, I mean, there's a through line through each episode about um, Deborah and her career, and also a lot more focus on Ava this season, which I really liked. And I think the final 2 episodes in particular were very well done, ended on a high note. And clearly, as we saw from the last season at the Emmys, they do really enjoy this show because it won, I think, both writing and directing last year, and also Gene Smart. So I think that's going to win personally. Then number 2, I've got Barry, which I've also been really enjoying this season. I don't know how much of a comedy you can call it this season, to be honest. I mean, it's a very dark season. There's like a few jokes here and there, but it's getting pretty dark. Um, but I think it's the best. I think it should win whatever directing Emmy there is for the comedy category because Bill Hader is doing an incredible job. Um, then I've got other shows. Ted Lasso could always still win. Only Murders in the Building. I believe the second season might be airing during voting, or they might just miss it. I'm not sure. Um, then Atlanta, then Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, then What We Do in the Shadows, and then Abbott Elementary. I don't think any of those last 4 really have a true shot at winning, but I think they will be nominated. What do you have, Anthony?
So I agree with Hacks in the number 1 position. If you remember, this was a big surprise last year when it pulled off Best Directing and Best Writing up against Ted Lasso and, of course, Gene Smart won. So to be honest, like this was like in
The
many ways you
runner-up.
could say as far as like the craft and the creative side, this won more awards in the primetime Emmys than Ted Lasso. It's just Ted Lasso
Yeah.
won more performances because it
Mm-hmm.
won Jason Sudeikis for Best Actor and then the 2 supporting actors in a comedy series for Hannah Waddingham or as just Seth Rogen said, Waddington. Uh,
Close
and
enough.
yeah, and then Roy Kent.
Hmm.
He's there. I'm not going to curse because I don't want to get monetized.
Oh,
Uh,
that's okay.
but yeah, so I think that Hacks really is respected. It's very inside baseball for this industry, which of course they love. And I think
Hmm.
it's newer. I think what Ted Lasso benefited from was season two was airing amidst the voting
Yeah.
when they were voting for season one. That's not the case this year with Ted Lasso. If it was, maybe it would be a different scenario. And I also think that we're now getting into this interesting place where like Hacks and Ted Lasso and Barry, they're kind of pseudo comedies. They're not completely
Yeah.
like the classic Modern Family, sitcoms that
Six.
would win here. And so I think because, especially Ted Lasso, this season was very dark. I wonder if, while people appreciate it, if they're looking for best comedy, a show about a comic maybe fits the
Yeah.
category more this year. I also think that, Ted Lasso will be back for season three, and I imagine it'll be a terrific final season. So I do feel like maybe they'll spread the love, and yeah, just Hacks is a great show. So I'm gonna put that in
Hmm.
first position. I'm gonna have Ted Lasso in second because I do think it's such a strong behemoth of a show. Then I'll put Barry. I think those are your top three.
Yeah.
Then Only Murders in the Building and Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, two great. I think not as exposed shows, but they definitely have
Hmm.
their fans and they're definitely very well done. I'm very happy to see Only Murders in the Building really catching on. Such a great
Yeah.
little. It has such a great fall aesthetic, at least to me, and I love shows and movies with a fall aesthetic. Um, I don't even know if it takes place in the fall, but it seems to have like
It
that.
does. Just like with the
Color.
colors and stuff, it seems very
Yeah.
folly.
Uh, and then the next, there are four shows jockeying for those last three. And that's Abbott Elementary, Atlanta, What We Do in the Shadows, and Reservation Dogs.
Hmm.
Reservation Dogs has been getting a lot of like attention,
Yeah.
especially for its representation. And I think we saw the news this week with the new Predator film, Prey, that's going to allow the actors to stay in their Comanche language,
Hmm.
and like that's. I think there's a lot of attention being done to the Native American experience and being authentic to that culture. And I could see it happening, and maybe What We Do in the Shadows missing out. So
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm gonna do. I feel strong in What We Do in the Shadows, and I wouldn't be surprised if it gets in. But I just think that Reservation Dogs, I think there's a little bit more buzz, and there's a little bit more of a reason to honor it. Like What We Do in the Shadows, I think is a show that a lot of people really enjoy who are watching it. But I think
Hmm.
Reservation Dogs, it's like I could see people distinguishing the difference between favorite and best, which is a
Yeah.
conversation we had a lot during the Spider-Man Best
Yes.
Picture rally. But I could see people voting, thinking, What We Do in the Shadows is a lot of fun, but Reservation Dogs matters more. So I'm going to put that in my eight predictions alongside Abbott Elementary, which is a show that I think it's like it's on a network, right? It's on ABC,
I
so it's
think so. Yeah.
yeah,
It's
so
one
it's
of the
like
few
one of those
network shows.
last
Yeah.
clinging to the past things, and we usually see one of those in there, and this is a
Yeah.
show that a lot of people really love, strong fan base, and then Atlanta, of course, is just a really great show. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people, despite the long break, do remember it. They really love Donald Glover. So yeah, those are my eight.
I just do wonder with Atlanta this season, seems to be taking a very different approach. Like a lot of episodes not focused on the characters at all. And I haven't been hearing as much buzz about it, but I think it is still just strong enough creatively and with the cast to still make it in the top eight.
Yeah, I
Um,
see it. Like Stranger Things 3 was such a different vibe from the first two seasons, yet that still got in because
yeah,
people love the show so much. So I think the same thing will happen here.
yeah. And also shout out to Hawkeye who switched from limited series to comedy. I don't think it's gonna happen, but at least that means there might be another season. So that's
Will
that.
it also be set at Christmas in New York? Or maybe
Um,
this one is
maybe
set just
Christmas in
Halloween.
yeah, maybe Christmas in California. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
West Coast Avenger.
yeah. Who knows? Now into comedy actress, where I think this one is rather easy, at least in terms of the number one. It's going to Jean Smart, as she deserves for Hacks. I think this is one of the situations where it I don't know if I could see anyone else in this role or doing it quite the way she is doing it. It fits her perfectly. It's just an amazing role for her. Obviously, I think probably the best role she's had in her career yet. I'm super glad for this career renaissance she is having. I think everyone just loves her. So she's easily winning, in my opinion. And the second season, she gives just as good as a performance as the first. Um, then everyone else. Rachel Brosnahan for Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is going to get in there. Um, I think Kaylee Cuoco for Flight Attendant is probably going to still get in there, but that second season is not getting a lot of attention. Um, Same for Issa Rae for Insecure. I'm not hearing a ton about the show, but I think her name and the her name like being so connected to the show itself, she'll probably still get in there. This is where it gets a little tricky with the last two. I think Quinta Brunson is going to get in for Abbott Elementary, and then Selena Gomez for Only Murders in the Building. I know she missed at the SAGs, um, but I think the show will be strong enough for her to sneak in there. But I could see maybe like Sarah Lanchester for Julia getting in there, but maybe Elle Fanning for The Great. But right now, I would go with Selena Gomez.
I think the thing to remember about Selena Gomez is that the SAG doesn't do supporting. Like
Yeah,
they kind of throw everybody in. And so that could have maybe canceled Selena Gomez out because you had leads and supporting jockeying. And I'm sure there was a supporting performance that was in the running there.
yeah,
Um, so, yeah. Um, I agree that this is Jean Smart's to lose. I think she's really beloved in this industry and that this is such a great showcase for her. So that's she's definitely the number one. Then Rachel Brosnahan, I believe a previous winner in this category, I believe. So
yes,
that
definitely.
always carries a cachet. So I would put that in two. Then I would put, I think, I think I would put Issa Rae. I think that
Yeah,
she has garnered a lot of attention because of this show. I believe this is the show's final season. So I see this as like an honorary nomination for her work on the show. Then I think I would put Selena Gomez in my four because I think that if people really love the show and they're voting for the other two men, which I think
yeah,
is probable, I don't
hmm
see how they could leave her off. That would be pretty surprising because it's such a strong trio.
yeah,
So I'm going to put her at four. Five, I will put Quinta Brunson because I think she'll benefit if Abbott Elementary gets into Best Comedy Series. I would be
yeah,
surprised though if he gets in if Abbott Elementary does not get into Best Comedy Series. So I feel like that's a
yeah.
two-hander.
I think
And
she's
then,
also like the mind behind the whole show too. Like I think she writes
oh,
and
okay.
stuff on it
Yeah,
too. So
so like Issa Rae before her, I think that create kind of the person who willed the show into existence will get honored separately.
hmm
And then six, I'll put Kelly Cuoco because I think that she is the show,
yeah,
and I think that there is support for what she was able to do in terms of reinventing herself and finding another show after Big Bang Theory. I think a lot of people, similar to
hmm
what we saw with Margot Robbie with I, Tonya, and that a lot of people respected her drive to get that done for herself. I think she has a similar narrative. I don't think she has any chance of winning, but I think that the it's an honor to be nominated phrase I think applies to Kaylee Cuoco, and so I'll put her in six.
yeah. I do feel bad for her because last Emmy season, it seemed like at least early on she was the front runner, and then of course Gene Smart comes in, and now they're like going to be competing with each other each year. So
Yeah.
I don't know how likely it is that she's ever going to win for this show. So maybe another time. So that's actress. Now into actor. Okay,
Ooh, ooh,
this is
ooh.
a tricky one. It's about where do they want to honor Bill Hader. Um, right now, I am going to put Bill Hader as my number one, just because he's doing very strong work this season, both in front of and behind the camera. And I just like he's. So, I mean, I don't. He's not really doing a comedy performance this season, to be honest. I mean, I can't even think of a single comedic line he's done. It's been very dark stuff for him, but it's been a great performance. So I would have him
As
as
there
my
has
number
been
one.
with Jason Sudeikis, to be fair, it's a
Yes,
very
yes,
it's a definitely a much more dramatic turn this season, especially for his character and the actor's escaping me, the actor who plays Nate. Um,
oh
oh my
God,
God,
isn't it Nick? No,
Nick Mohammed, I think.
that I think so. Yes.
Yeah, Nick Mohammed. So I think that it's funny because they're both previous winners in this category,
hmm
and they're both kind of they're playing similar characters tonally in terms of
Yeah.
the identity of their characters as attached to their shows. So, and I think Steve Martin and Martin Short are probably going to cancel each other out.
Yeah, they're the
Um,
clear front two, Bill Hader
yeah,
and Sudeikis.
and then Donald Glover and Anthony Anderson, I think, are
Hmm.
it's just they're going to continue their path of just always getting nominated.
Yeah,
They'll always like Anthony Anderson. I feel like has been the sixth nominee in this category ever since
I
the
know.
show landed, and I think he would have a
It's the
better
last
shot.
season too. Yeah.
Yeah, he would have a better shot if people like Keenan Thompson were able to pull off upsets in the past. But I feel like
Hmm.
I just don't see it happening. Even is this the? I think this is the final season of
I
Blackish.
believe so. Yeah.
I don't see him competing because it's such a. I do feel like we're getting in this weird area because like we separate drama and comedy because there's such different types of performances. But like the
Hmm.
comedy of Ted Lasso and Barry is so different than the comedy of
It
Blackish
is.
and Abbott Elementary, which is I feel like is now it's like the because it's also like a new ABC comedy type of show. They're
Hmm.
very similar. So like it's really odd to compare them, but
Yeah.
yeah. So you have Bill Hader as one.
Yeah, I have Bill Hader, then Jason Sudeikis, then I've got Steve Martin and Martin Short, then Donald Glover and Anthony Anderson.
Yeah, I'll just take Sudeikis because I think they're going to want to honor Ted Lasso somewhere, and I feel like
Hmm.
we're better to honor Ted Lasso than Ted Lasso himself.
True.
Um, so I think that's where this will win, and also because I think Bill Hader will probably show up in the creative categories for
Yeah,
Barry and could very likely win those because
I
I
would
think
say
that
so.
we've seen um, hacks win in those categories before, and I think that if we've seen Ted Lasso win a bunch of categories, so I could see them spreading the love. If Ted Lasso wins actor and Hacks wins actress and comedy series, then maybe Barry wins like writing or directing.
Yeah, I mean, episodes 6 and 7, which are the two most recent of Barry, are incredibly directed. I think, I mean, all of these shows are very well directed, but just from a technical standpoint, Barry is in particular surprising me very much. Um, I can't really think of anyone else who has a huge chance of getting in here. There's always maybe Nicholas Hoult for The Great, but that's all I can really think of
That
in
show
terms of
seems to
other
have like
contenders.
fallen a little off. I mean, never discount
Yeah,
Don Cheadle with the Emmys for Black
very
Monday.
true. Very true.
Um, and also like I'm trying to do, like we have two I think similar shows on different streamers with Our Flag Means Death and Heartstopper in terms of like these very
Yeah.
fan beloved shows that again as we saw with Euphoria season 1 maybe not getting them all the way to a best drama or a best comedy series nomination but maybe gets one of the actors in so
Hmm.
potentially I
Yeah,
think maybe you could see Reese Darby surprise for Our Flag Means Death but that would be an incredible surprise
that would.
having to knock out somebody like Anthony Anderson or Donald Glover, which I don't necessarily see happening.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Um, Now onto the best comedy supporting actress. This is a tricky one. I don't think Hannah Waddingham is going to win again. I think there's a chance, but she's my number three right now. I'm between Hannah Einbinder and Sarah Goldberg, from Hacks and Barry, respectively. Um, I think I'm going to put Hannah Einbinder as my number one, just because I do think she's gotten a little more to do this season. I think her character has grown a lot this season, and I think she ends the season in a very interesting place. The show, it almost seemed like a series finale, to be honest, but I doubt it will be. Um, so yeah, I think, and I mean, she's just, I mean, I don't really know if she's supporting. I think she's just as much of a co-lead as Jean Smart is. I think they really carried the show together. I think she's really just as important to the show being as good as it is, as Jean Smart is. So she's my number one. Very close number two, Sarah Goldberg for Barry. This is the most, I think, like, I don't know what the word you would use, the most like acting performance like scenes that she's had so far this season. She's gotten, I think, a bigger role. She's really had her own subplot line this season rather than being connected to Barry's. And there's a lot that happens in that plot line, and she shows off a lot of different range. So I think she's really, really good on that show. Then I have Hannah Waddingham for Ted Lasso. I mean, always good in the show, previously won. There's always a chance she could win again this season. Um, then I don't think anyone else really has a shot at winning, but Alex Bornstein for Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Juno Temple for Ted Lasso, Kate McKinnon. I think only one Saturday Night Live person is going to get in there. And it's Kate McKinnon's last season, so I mean, I think she'll probably get in. Then Janelle James for Abbott Elementary. And in last place, I decided to just throw her in there just because I couldn't really think of anyone else who to put in there. Meg Stelter from Hacks is her and someone who we will cover in the supporting actor category. They both have also their own kind of mini storyline this season, and they were both incredible in it. So I doubt she probably will get in there, but I'm just throwing her out there for my 8th spot.
And so yeah, there's 8 nominees in this category, 2 more than in the lead
Yeah.
acting categories. And I think it's the battle of the Hannahs, and I think Einbender is going to come back on top, just because I think Waddingham this season, there wasn't as much to do. Like, I was so moved in the first season when she does the Ted I Lied to You scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think she has that type of scene. In fact, like when I think of her arc, I think of the scene when Roy tells her, "Don't you dare settle for fine." So I think that says something about her arc this season, and that her arc, I think of another character. And like, yes, it was cute to see. I think the best she was, and probably the episode they'll submit her for, is the funeral episode, which that was definitely a highlight. But I feel like Einbender, I feel like there was a lot of support for her. We obviously think there's a lot of support for Hacks. And I could see, again, the same way that they did Sudeikis, Waddingham, and Goldstein, they're going to do Smart and Einbender. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
You know, because they're, you know, I think it would be, as much as I love Hannah Waddingham and want her to be in everything, I do think it would be a little unjust to give it to Jean Smart 2 years in a row and not give it at least once to Einbender, because that show doesn't work without her. It's such an important duo. And so I'm going to put her as 1, then Waddingham, then I'm going to put Kate McKinnon.
Yeah.
I do think, again, final season, a lot of love. I think if you watch the certain clips they'll clip out, especially her last episode, there is a lot of nostalgia for that. Especially because, like, Sarah Goldberg, I think, is really great, but I'm not sure. I don't think she's at the level of, like, Bill Hader in terms of name recognition.
Oh, no.
So she goes along because everybody loves the show. I don't think people they don't lead with Sarah Goldberg is amazing as she is. That's not like the number. Like I feel like everybody else, like Hannah Einbender, people will lead the conversation saying she is great in Hacks.
Yeah.
Whereas Sarah Goldberg is just a part of the great ensemble of Barry. At least that's kind of what I hear. I just, like, all these other people either have won Emmys, or at least, like, you would know them apart from this show that they're being nominated for. So that's why I'll put Kate McKinnon at 3, Juno Temple at 4, who I think had a really great season. Similar to, I think it's funny because Hannah Waddingham should be in lead, in my opinion. At least
she should. Absolutely.
Juno is, I think, supporting. And I think it would be, I think for the final season, I think maybe they should consider it, just because, like,
give Juno Temple her.
Yeah, to give her Juno, because she's really great, and I think she could be in competition for Einbender if Waddingham wasn't in the category. So I'll put Juno Temple at 4, Sarah Goldberg at 5, and Alex Borstein at 6, because, again, Borstein won this category, comedy legend going back to Mad TV days. So, again, a lot of love for her. And I think there will be the contingent of people who still love Mrs. Maisel, even if it doesn't have the same electricity among the voting body. Then I will put Janelle James as Abbott Elementary, because I think, again, that show really does have a strong, passionate fan base. And then in my 8th spot, it's tough.
It is tough.
I think I'm down to 3 between. See, like, let me ask you, why do you think that Kate will be the only SNL actor?
I just feel like this season doesn't seem like. Oh, sorry, 1 second. This season hasn't gotten as much attention as past seasons, in my opinion. Especially last season. And I think there's just too many good comedy shows with good performances. And at least in my opinion, maybe this is more hope predicting for Saturday Night Live to take 2 spots. I think it'll get 1, but taking 2 spots, I honestly don't think Saturday Night Live should even compete in this category personally. I feel it's like a completely different animal than the rest of these shows. So, I mean, maybe it's more of a personal thing, but I think it's not strong enough to compete with the more narrative shows.
Yeah, because I feel like in past seasons, I don't know, it just because I could see a world where like 80 and Cecily get nominated, maybe Janelle James misses out. Like
Yeah.
that's a world I could see,
Hmm.
but at the same time, you make a convincing argument of just like there are other performances. I think now that this category isn't just sitcom performances.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take a stab in the dark. And for my eighth pick, I'm going to go Amy Ryan for Only Murders in the Building.
Mm.
I think this she is really respected in the industry. I believe was she in Birdman? What was she in? She
She
was
was
in
in
a,
some,
she
yeah,
was in something. Let me
she
see.
was. I just kicked her out of that category
Yeah,
recently,
she was in
sadly.
Birdman. She's been in The Office. She was in Treatment. So she has a very
Office,
like
yes.
a wide variety. She also done some theater work. She's a two-time Tony nominee. So I think that she has a lot of. She's a Tonier type of choice in terms of like
Yeah.
more prestige than the SNL ladies. And I also think that spoiler alert for Only Murders in the Building, 3, 2, 1.
She's,
She is the villain, and I think that's always a
yes.
meaty role. And so if they pick the right category, if they pick the right episode, there's probably a great scene to take from that. So yeah, I think they're going to be more. I don't think the men are the only people that are going to benefit from Only Murders in the Building. I think the women will as
Yeah.
well. Because I even like I remember the scene when she gets mad at Steve Martin on their date because it's like I just poured out this very emotional thing and you're not gonna
Yeah.
respond in kind so I think that she has fun moments because she's quirky and she's delightful, but then just like that she's now the villain of the piece, and it's
Hmm.
a it's a difficult role to nail because it could come off as very cartoonish. It could come off as not like the transition being off, but she makes it work. And I think that it's the most different of these nominees. I think everybody else, they're like funny, snarky performances where she's kind of more laid back and
Yeah.
like she has a controlled, lackadaisical vibe to her while still owning the scene she's in that I think
Hmm.
will have her benefit a nomination. So I'm going to put her in my number 8 spot.
Yeah. Yeah. I very much am considering her, especially since, unlike in Ted Lasso, she's the only, since Selena Gomez is in lead, the only real contender from that show here. So I am very much considering her. And also, who knows? Maybe Florence Pugh with her star power can get in for Hawkeye. You never know.
That'd be crazy. I mean, I would love it, but that would be
It would be
crazy.
crazy. It would be. Um, I don't think that's gonna happen, but I think that'd be funny.
I mean, I would love to see any of the Schmigadoon actresses, Ariana DeBose, or
Mm,
I mean, Kristen Chenoweth has a great one-take song called "Tribulation" that's really great. But that show just seemed to, I think it because it
yeah,
was so early in the season that people have forgotten it. But that was a really fun show that
yeah,
this musical fan enjoyed.
yeah. I have not seen it. This Apple TV, right?
Yeah, Apple TV Plus.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was very charming, it was very sweet. I think the performances would have been its best shot, but again, I think it again it's another situation of you kind of have these pseudo com drams that
hmm,
are, of course, meatier than your average comedy, and they're benefiting from these categories because they're just there's more substance to their roles. Which I'm not necessarily suggesting that they need to invent a new category. I just think it's an unfortunate side effect that we're now in a time where genre, because of streaming, has kind of like melded together. And
yeah,
the distinction that we separated these categories to benefit lighter fare with the comedy categories has now been for
tricky.
like it's fruitless now.
Yeah, it is tricky, especially with like sitcoms not being nearly as prominent. If they should even still separate it by genre, I'm not sure, but I do like getting spotlights on lots of shows and performances. So I don't know if I would want to
Yeah.
merge them
I think
together.
in the end, it's like, what is your purpose? Is your purpose to like make you uncomfortable or make you laugh? And I think with
Yeah,
like Ted Lasso and Hacks, like in the end, they're trying to make you laugh. It's just, and also, I think that it just speaks to the quality of their shows. They're so well done that they're on a different level. And I don't think we need to fault them or
no,
disqualify them from the comedy categories or put them in drama because they're just really well done. Because I think Friends, in a lot of ways, kind of started this when it was when Friends was doing episodes where the entire episode was the two characters breaking up, and like I think that's when we started drifting away and like season long arcs. Like I think we could argue that that of its time was doing what Ted Lasso and Hacks are doing today. So I think it's always been the case that like the more substantive roles have benefited. So it's just an
Yeah,
interesting conversation.
it is very much. I wonder if they'll do anything about that anytime soon. Not this season, though. Not this season. Um, Now into comedy supporting actor, which is also as tricky as supporting actress. I do agree with you that they probably want to award Ted Lasso somewhere. I think the person with the most recent buzz and hype, I think, would be Brett Goldstein, in my opinion, either him or Sudeikis. So I think I'm going to keep him at number one, but I'm not extremely confident about that. Right behind him, I have Henry Winkler from Barry, who has gotten a lot to do this season. I mean, he just like Sarah Goldberg has his own entire plot line this season. He's not connected to Barry really at all, besides the first few episodes. Um, so he's given a lot to do. Number three, why not? Anthony Carrigan from Barry is just, I mean, he's probably my favorite performance on that whole show just because he's always a comedic actor on that show, unlike, say, Henry Winkler or Sarah Goldberg or Bill Hader. They also have their dramatic moments. Anthony Carrigan is mostly just comedy, and he does very good with that. I think he's easily the funniest character on the show. Then, of course, you've got Tony Shalhoub, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, previous winner. He's going to be nominated. Um, then it gets tricky. I'm once again only sticking to one Saturday Night Live performance getting in here. I think I'm going to go with Bowen Yang. I think he will be get a better chance than Kenan Thompson this season.
Benefiting from Fire Island, his new movie that was really
Yes, that too. That too. And then my last three spots, I think Brian Tyree Henry from Atlanta. I think he'll get in there. Then I'm gonna go with Paul W. Downs from Hacks. He has his mini storyline. He disappears for a few episodes in the middle, but the last two episodes, I think he gets a lot to do. And I think he's also like a co-creator of the show. He's just really good in that role, and I think he deserves some recognition for that. And then last place, I have Nick Mohammed from Ted Lasso. Not completely confident in that. I might like put Stephen Root there instead from Barry. But right now, I'm gonna stick with Nick Mohammed. How about you?
So I am also putting Brett Goldstein at one. I think that his character had a lot to do this season, and I think he's such a lovable, wonderful, like this just the Roy Kent character is just such a brilliant character that I think he is number one. Then
Yeah.
Henry Winkler, because he's the Fonz, you got to
Mm-hmm.
respect. Then I'm gonna put Bowen Yang because I think I think he is the next Kate McKinnon in terms
Hopefully,
of
yeah.
he will keep getting nominated because people just really love his distinct comedic stylings.
Mm-hmm.
Then Tony Shalhoub, don't discount the Miss Maisel fans. 5, Anthony Carrigan.
Mm-hmm.
6, I'm gonna put Nick Mohammed. I don't know why people don't have the same faith in him because I think he is like this season doesn't work without him. I think he
very
is
true.
especially the last episode, which I would assume is the one they like send when he yells at Ted. Like that's such a great scene. I could understand if people say that he's not very comedic, but I don't think that should count against him. Whatever category he's in, he should be nominated because he gave a good performance. I don't think they've in past years been like, but if they're judging between two performances, they nominate the one that's the more comedic or the one that's more funny. I don't think that's how they distinguish this. So I'm going to put Nick Mohammed at 6. I'm going to put Kenan at 7 because it's Kenan, and I think they love him. And then he also benefits from having his own show, Kenan. So I think, which I'm not sure, was he nominated for that last year?
I don't think so. I think he was just nominated for Saturday Night Live.
Because I feel like let me look. Because I feel like he was. I don't know why.
He may have been.
Let me see.
Because
the show is called Kenan, right? It's just.
It is, yes.
With who's on it? Like Don Johnson, isn't he on the show?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen it.
It's such an odd pairing. It's really funny. I will check that later. And then my last spot, I'm going to go out on a limb because I think that if the show sends out episodes, if they send out Beard After Hours, Brendan Hunt, I think, has a strong chance of getting in for the 8th slot. Because I think, again, that episode is solely him. He's a force behind the creatives of the show. He's a creative force of the show. And
Hmm.
like, isn't that like inspired by like some Scorsese movie? Like, I feel like that episode has like a lot of like
Probably.
gravitas to it, and it's such a weird episode, but it works. And I think that he, again, if you're submitting episodes, he will benefit because I think that is one of the best 45 minutes of television this past season in the comedy, just in terms of editing, cinematography, acting, comedy. It's just, and it's all on him. It's like it's his spin-off episode. So I'm going to put him at number 8 on the presumption that, again, it's the episode that gets him in.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I have a little issue. I just don't know if, especially where the buzz is right now, three Ted Lasso's are actors are going to get in there. So that's why I also have Nick Mohammed at 8, just because I think there may be some. I think Brett Goldstein's like the clear, like one of them that's going to get in, and I think Nick Mohammed is the
I
clear
think
two.
helps because then like they're not like the thing with the Game of Thrones actresses and supporting actors when they were all going up each other, and that's when Julia Garner won for season 2 of Ozark. They
Yes.
all were equally good, like Lena Headey, Gwendolyn Christie, and the Stark girls. With
Hmm.
this, it's so clearly
Brett Goldstein.
Brett Goldstein that I think
Yeah.
the other two are fine because they're being nominated at different tiers. Like Brett Goldstein is a confirmed, where the other two are actually competing.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. Um, and then I can't really, looking down the list, think of anyone else who's got a huge shot of getting in there. So,
Kenan Thompson was nominated for Best Lead Actor in a Comedy Series, losing to Jason Sudeikis. Um,
oh,
yeah, let's see. Uh, Taika Waititi, again, maybe. He's
maybe.
beloved for Our Flag Means Death, and there's a lot of passion for him. Um, I didn't mention Brian Tyree Henry. He's a possibility. Stephen Root, a possibility.
Lakeith Stanfield is possible.
Lakeith Stanfield, a possibility. Um, yeah, I think that's it. I
Was
mean,
Pete
if
Davidson on this past season of SNL?
as long as he's dating Kim Kardashian, I don't think he'll ever get nominated for
That's true.
something. I
Very true.
think, and no disrespect to them, they're living happily, but I think that that name comes with consequences.
It does. It does. Yeah. I just remember I'm pretty sure this was his past season too. So
Like nobody, like they're already upset that like this guy found a way to break, like he was broken up with Ariana Grande and found a way to be with Kim Kardashian, and
insane.
now we're going to award and
Yeah.
nominate how they got together. Like
He's already
we're
winning.
not going to find people who want to do that. Like, oh, we're going to nominate the means to which you now have millions and millions and millions in terms of like, your and again, no disrespect to them. um you know it's just not happening. He's also
Yeah.
not on it that much. He comes
No,
and goes.
no, he wasn't on the I don't think this past season a ton either. So yeah. Yeah, so that's it for that. Any last thoughts on the overall comedy categories at this year's Emmys?
Um, yeah, I think we said it all. It's more competitive than usual in these categories, and
Yes.
I'm very interested. I'm interested to see the SNL alums, see which ones get in or not. I'm interested to see if like the other thing too is like we could be in a scenario where like we're sensing a controversy and then there isn't one, and Ted Lasso just sweeps again, save for Best Actress. Where that will obviously be Gene Smart. So it's
Hmm.
interesting to see if they will spruce it up or they're going to keep going the same way. Uh,
Hmm.
we'll definitely see, because I think if Ted Lasso wins this year, I think it'll also best comedy series. I think it's most likely going to also win next year
And final season,
and
yeah.
for the final season, and that would be quite an impressive thing to win for every season of your show. I'm not sure any show has ever done that before. Um, Ted Lasso
Yeah.
would have to do it this year to pull off the record. So, because Veep got close. Veep won every year except the last season because it lost to
Yeah.
Fleabag. So, that's a potential record to look out for, especially also to see if Gene Smart can continue this trend and Jason
Hope so.
Sudeikis,
Yeah.
then maybe they also can pull off this. They win every year. Bill Hader too, right? Because he won. Did he win for both season 1 and
I
season 2?
know he won for at least one of them. I'm not sure if he won for both. Gene Smart
He's
is going
won
to be.
2 Emmy awards, so I imagine
He
it's
may
for
have won
season.
for directing or writing. I'm not sure.
I will look this up. If you do, you have any other last?
I just want to say Jean Smart is also going to be a potential Oscar contender this year for Babylon, so keep an eye out for her there. I would love to see her get an Oscar nomination.
Yeah,
And the two
Bill Hader
shows
won twice for
for
both
both
seasons.
for actor.
So he could pull off the record. We'll see.
Oh wow, yeah, I didn't think of that. Yeah, that's very possible. Um, yeah, and there's two shows that I've been watching here that I like the most would be Barry and Hacks. So if you haven't seen them, I would very much suggest watching them. Very, very good shows. HBO is killing it, as they always do. So yeah, those are the comedy categories at this year's Emmys. If people are looking for some Jurassic content, Anthony, where could they find that stuff?
Well, it's Jurassic content with an asterisk. If you want to
Yeah.
see me rip to shreds the new movie, come all over to Spoilers Ahead with Anthony Post because my God, that movie pissed me off. And I don't take pleasure. I don't like to take pleasure in like a bad review, but I also feel like I don't like to because I wouldn't mince words with like Everything Everywhere All at Once or like the Batman in terms of my
Mhm.
praise. So I don't feel like I should mince words with my critiques because
No.
my lord, there's a lot to critique with Jurassic World
Yeah.
Dominion.
Yeah. I still have not seen it. I'm not sure if I'm even going to see it this weekend now, especially since I'm traveling. So
I told the viewers at the end, do anything else with your time.
watch
Go
Top Gun again.
have dinner with friends. Go for a bike ride with family. Slam your bedroom door into your foot for 2.5 hours.
Oh,
Do
nice.
anything but watch this movie.
Mm, poor Laura Dern. I love her.
Oh my god.
Uh,
Her first role after Marriage Story, her
this is,
Academy
oh,
Award.
wow. This is
I
her
think
first
so.
after
I
that.
think the other thing she did was like produce and do some nature documentary. So like this is
Did
her first
Little
role.
did Little Women come out before or after Marriage Story?
But her first role after her win.
Her win. Okay. Yeah. Wow. That
Like this
stinks.
is what she took. This is where her Oscar led her.
At least she
Oh,
probably got a good paycheck. Good for her.
God, hoping. Yes. And also, it's not, I mean, it has nothing to do with this in terms of Emmys, but pay Nev Campbell what she wants, please. Like, let's
Oh,
support
yeah.
her. Because I think this is an unfortunate thing with this industry is that we don't pay women the same. I think, again, like, just read up on the situation with Scream 6.
Mhm.
And I think it's very unfortunate what's been happening with her.
Yes, I would agree. She has earned it at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so comment your comedy Emmy predictions down below, like the video, subscribe, and we will see you for whatever we are doing next.